as they can react in defense.
What does it take to turn a playful pup into an elite dog? GardaWorld is pulling back the curtain on its canine unit, showing how its dogs are bred, trained and deployed to protect people and property.
I work in this role for 5 to 6 years now, and my responsibility is to oversee and grow the business, following the standards that we are adhered to and called the CIRA standards for patrol dogs and UNOPS-Frontex standards for detection dogs, for explosive detection dogs. So GardaWorld as Canine is a specialized service line that has different sub-services. We have patrol dogs for securing premises. We have detection dogs, narcotic, explosives. We have also dogs for the civil aviation called AVSEC, for aviation security. Another thing we do is stowaway dogs, and of course we have the illegal wildlife detection dogs. Now our force is around 700 dogs strong. We have a very good detection sub-service. We're working with very good equipment and dogs, and my team is very competent of delivering the service to our clients. So GardaWorld is a private security company. It's a Canadian company. The origins is from Canada, but we have a Africa department here. So we do a very small scale breeding, and that is because we want to be ethical and we want to make sure that our results are giving us what we need. Of course, our breeding is supplementary to our procurement. Usually we procure dogs from Kenya for both patrol and detection. And we utilize in 2 breeds. One is the Belgian Shepherd, Malinois, and the second is Springer Spaniels. First, we train our dogs to the service, and then we pair them with a handler. Usually the training of a dog, depending on the service, for a patrol dog is 5 weeks. So by year, for the Malinois, about 1.5 years, the dog is ready to work. For a Springer Spaniel, it takes a little bit longer for them to work. Then for the pairing is around 3 to 5 days, depending on the character of the dog and the handler. We have a vet in house, and everything is monitored by a Kenyan vet here, Dr. Samuel. He is responsible of the food and the selection of food and the standards. We have a requirement of a high standard for our dog food, so we cannot feed our dogs something that is less. Okay, and that actually guarantees the performance of the dog. Each service has its own licensing, so we have permits to work, definitely. The other thing is we are following standards. As I said, we are working on CIRA standards from South Africa, and Frontex for the detection dogs, for the explosive detection dogs. The dogs are trained to bite, but they are trained to defend the handler and not just send them to bite indiscriminately. So the dogs are there to defend the handler. According to our use of force model, which is in accordance with ICOCA and other organizations, the use of force has to be equal to the defense. So we are not allowing dogs to leave and bite people. We have a very high standards in safety and security in GardaWorld, and we are following it to the T. We have a standard test for our patrol dogs as we have for our detection dogs. Now, usually what we're looking for the patrol dog is to have that ability to work by itself and work with a handler, so it can work. So our test is setting a dog by itself to see how it responds to a threat, and then we put a handler behind the dog to see how again he responds. Then we do different tests as slippery floors, climbing stairs, getting into and out of an obstacle, jumping, all of this small stuff that can determine their character and then see if it's suitable for work or not for patrol. For detection, it's much more complicated, but in all we can say we are working with the capability of dog to search for his toy and how long it will take that, and how the dog is willing to overcome obstacles to find its toy. So our handlers, they are coming from our security officers trained. So when we are training our handlers, they are already security officers with at least 1 year of experience on the field. So some of them, when we come out and says we need handlers, they come, they say that they want to come. Then we have a behavioral test for them to see how they can manage problems. And then we have a training of 3 weeks for them. I have very experienced team members here that they know they have more than 10 years of experience of training personnel. So you can isolate the bad fruits from the good ones. At the end of the training, the dog can respond to dual silence. All right, we have all the equipment so the dog can bite actually if needs to bite in a targeted areas. So we don't do street, how can I say, dirty bite dogs. Our dogs, we have a certain method of training our dogs. It's mostly about targeted. There are some, let's say, a combination of military and civilian kind of training. Special operation dogs are a different kind of dogs. You want the dog to be silent, to be effective. You want the dog to be very sociable with other people that they operate with you. Usually you have a team of 4, 8, 12, depending on which branch are you. All right, and then the dog needs to respond. The special operations dogs, they can do many things. They are, as I said, silent. They can detect explosives. They can bite targeted. They can alert from far away if there is a presence of people around. But as I said, special operations, it depends on the operations you are doing. For all our detection or patrol, depending on the dog, we are using harnesses plus with a collar. So we have harness and collar. You will see in this display there is no choke chain. There is no slip chain. Why? We stopped using choke chains 4 years ago and more. We are more on the positive reinforcement and positive work with our dogs. We test the behavior and then we adjust the training. Not every dog is trained the same. So we adapt with the dog's behavior and genes, and then we are training our dogs to their best potential. The potential is not only on the dog, it's also on the trainer. So we are not only one trainer, we have many trainers, and at the end the certification is done by the master trainer if the dog is able to go for work or not. Okay, in detection and patrol. Okay, another thing is that all our equipment for the bite work, it comes from abroad. So we unfortunately we haven't found something that actually matches the quality that we get from Europe than anywhere else. So these ones, they are coming from yes, Europe. All of them. This is a hidden sleeve, so we also train our dogs not to fix on equipment, but to be also when you're wearing civilian clothes, so we see if the dog actually can bite a person or not. So we have hidden sleeves. Another thing, we do legs bites, so I believe we are the only company that works also on the legs, not only on upper body. Why? Because sometimes it's better to bite on the legs than on the upper body. The leashes also, they are, as I said, they are made for GardaWorld. So we actually made our own designs on leashes, custom designs of our equipment. Why? Because sometimes you need to do that. All right. The good thing is that all of these leashes and collars and harnesses, we are sourcing them from Kenya. So we don't go abroad for that. Only for some specialized harnesses that they cannot make here because of lack of materials, we get them from abroad. All right. Now for the detection, that is our pride, I will say. All right. We have kits from ScentLogix, TrueScent, Rest, GetScent, which is yeah. We have narcotics, explosives. We have also media. So if we want to go in a school and search for media like hidden mobile phones during exams and stuff, we can have a dog searching for that. So hard disks also, if you need to search for a hard disk, somebody threw something like a computer or something, we can have a dog finding hard disks and stuff. Yeah. Our kit is top of the line. Like we have more than 16 scents here. For the explosive, we have RDX, Patent, Dynamite. From SendLogix, we have Nitro. We have all the explosives that you can have as a civilian in this world. All of them, they are licensed. They imported and came licensed. So we have all the license, because sometimes people here, they get stuff without license. All right. We invested a lot of capital to make sure that our detection service line is top of the line. That's why we are actually now working on the civil aviation, all right, because it's very strict. We work with a REST system and with a FRED. It's called FRED and REST. FRED is the free running explosive detection dogs, and REST is remote explosive scent tracing. We're the only people now in East Africa that we do REST with a vacuum. We get a vacuum, we suck the air out of with a vacuum out of the big consignments, and then in 4 minutes we can have the scent that is inside these big containers, and then we line up for a dog, and the dog detects if there are explosive, narcotics, or wildlife, whatever we want the dog to find, depending on their training. Another thing, we train dogs only for one service, which means we don't train dogs for narcotics and explosives at the same time. Each dog searches only one, not scent, but one spectrum of scents, which are explosives, narcotics, or wildlife. Of course, we have also the dogs for stowaway, which searching for illegal passengers, stowaways in merchant ships. We deploy that in Mombasa in the next month. Okay. As I said, positive reinforcement, we are using clickers for primary reward, and sometimes we work. Primary reward is when the dog does something good, hears that and knows that once he hears that, then the secondary reward comes, which is the ball, the conch, like these ones, right? Everything that we do also, we very, very careful on contamination. So we use, you will see, we use gloves for our putting the scents and setting up a problem. The problems that we're setting up for the dogs are according to UNOPS and Frontex, which is 4 different areas, are luggage, open area, vehicles, and building search. Okay? So the pouches, usually they are using to have either a leash or the reward. So the dog doesn't have to see the reward in your pockets. Sometimes you will see handlers, they do this, all right? But then the dog knows that it's there, it comes and takes it from your pocket. But from the pouch, you cannot see.
So now dog's name is Jerry. Jerry is a Springer Spaniel, that's the breed. And Jerry is trained on explosive detection. There is an explosive scent in the vehicle. The dog doesn't know where the scent is. Even the handler with the dog doesn't know where the explosive scent is. So the handler has decided to conduct a full sweep of the area, because that is essentially what we do when we are doing a real scenario. We make sure we conduct a full sweep. We search everywhere. Then we will now narrow down to the productive areas. So now the dog has found the hidden scent or the hidden explosive, and what the dog is doing is an indication. That's what we call an indication. An indication is when the dog has found the scent and they are showing you where it is, and they do that by either sitting and staring or standing and staring. So what the dog is doing now is waiting for his reward. The dog works for a reward. When he finds the explosive or the scent, yes, that's the reward now. That's what the dog is working for.
My name is Rishi Ahluwalia. I'm the country director for GardaWorld in Kenya. So I oversee the Kenya business, and that entails all of our service lines, everything from Canine, which is obviously the focus for today, through to our mobile response capability, our guarding, our diplomatic protection, close protection, journey management, and also some people don't know as much, or it's not so obvious, but we also do a lot of outsourced labour in the form of facilities management and sort of skilled labour for companies that don't want to have that hassle in-house and they want to manage it through a third party. So we've got a lot of strings to our bow. Security is our bread and butter and our DNA, but you know, outsourced services, and technology as well is something that's really, really growing rapidly. And a myriad of other sort of complementary services, fire and rescue, first aid, commercial training. So yeah, we have a lot of things going on, a lot of people to look after in the country, and lots of different ways to do it. So we've got about 6 branches across the country. Obviously we've got a main footprint in Nairobi, but we've got multiple branches in Nairobi, including our fleet centre, our fire department, our training school, our canine centre, and our National Security Operations Centre. We also have footprint in Mombasa, and then across Western, Kisumu, Eldoret, Nakuru, and so forth. And then we routinely operate in the north of Kenya and the northeast regions as well, with some of our more high-risk journey management and executive protection taskings. So we have, I think, north of around 3,500 tracking clients. So 24 hours a day we're individually tracking that many vehicles, lorries and so forth, all from our National Security Operations Centre. And we're able to respond to any alerts triggered by those tracking devices, recover those vehicles, and also dispatch a response in case there's a panic activation or an incidence of someone being in trouble. So as GardaWorld Kenya, we actually service the complete cross-section of the economy. Everything from the major sort of tier 1 multinational firms across to the individuals who want to look after their own security, whether it's with an alarm system or a tracking system. Within that demographic, we are particularly strong in the diplomatic space, given our credibility and our compliance stipulations that are unique in the industry in Kenya. We have a very strong footing in the diplomatic sector, the NGO sector, but we're also able to tailor our solutions to fit individual requirements. So we look after north of 4,000 individual clients, and within that number, one client might have 100 employees, might have 20 employees. So 4,000 individual customers, and within that, by extension, we're looking after probably multiples of that number. And also, a lot of times, as is the way with security, we get called upon when things go wrong, and of course we respond. So our fire department, for example, routinely responds to incidences where it's not necessarily our existing clients. Likewise, our response services, our medical services, and so forth. So we're ready to help and assist anyone who needs it. So of course, compliance and adherence to regulatory requirements is paramount for GardaWorld Kenya. Predominantly, our guiding lights are the employment laws of Kenya. So the national minimum wage is something that is non-negotiable for us, and that is our baseline, which I think sadly is rather unique in the industry. We adhere to all the requirements set out by the Private Security Regulatory Authority, and we work closely with them. And on top of that, as part of GardaWorld, I'm beholden to a number of ISOs and international certifications that mean that our standards not only achieve and exceed the national benchmarks, but we can also play in the international sphere with credibility. Our training is very specialist. And it's a long process to train a dog to be a patrol dog. It takes a number of weeks, and it's a journey from when the dog is young up to the point where they get accredited by our head of Canine Africa to be deployable onto a client's site. Likewise for detection dogs, that's far more specialised again, and a long process. And also those dogs have an affinity with their handlers, and it's always a team. It's the handler and the dog together who enable the end result to be achieved. We have in the past provided individual dog handler training to members of the public who've been interested, enthusiasts and so forth. And we're also very happy to spread the word about responsible animal husbandry, the fact that a dog is not just for Christmas, how to look after it, how to understand when it's not well and so forth. So we have done this in the past. However, when it comes to training dogs, our real focus is on our 300 in-house sort of patrol dogs and detection dogs, and not just training them one-off, but every year they go through refresher training just like our handlers, and they have to be recertified to deploy onto client sites.